Trump and
President
Trump
Trump
arrives in
touching down
Greenland.
just moments ago in Switzerland. The president now just hours away from addressing a room of European allies amid a bitter standoff over his threats to seize Greenland.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
World leaders have hoped to rein the president in, from French President Emmanuel Macron.
We need more stability in this world, but we do prefer respect to bullies.
To the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, warning of a rupture in the world order.
The middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu.
It's not clear what deal the president would be looking to make. Denmark and Greenland say they are not interested in making any sort of deal with the president. And this morning, tensions are only escalating. We are just learning moments ago that France wants to do a NATO military exercise now in Greenland, saying they are ready to contribute, Michael.
Stocks are rallying already after Trump's pose. Dude, it's all fake. It's the fakest it's ever been.
Friends, few enemies, and all of the distinguished guests. It's a who's who, I will say that. Under the Biden administration, America was plagued by the nightmare of stagflation, meaning low growth, and high inflation, a recipe for misery, failure, and decline. But now, after just 1 year of my policies, we are witnessing the exact opposite.
Yeah, totally. America's really popping, dude. The more you say that, the more people believe it, for sure. Just keep repeating it over and over again. If you keep repeating this lie, then people will believe it eventually, right? Here, I'll make it faster.
Virtually.
Wait, better audio?
Over the past 3 months, core inflation has been just 1.6%. Meanwhile, fourth quarter growth is projected to be 5.4%, far greater than anybody other than myself and a few others had predicted. Since the election.
Yeah. It's great, though. That actually distributes evenly to the average American. Average Americans, according to Howard Butlick, that means every American's pockets are going to grow by 4.5% or 5.4%. Sorry. Whatever the number he's presenting here. That's how it works. When GDP growth is 5.4%, that means every American made 5.4% more money. That's how it works. Duh.
Since my inauguration, we've lifted more than 1.2 million people off of food stamps, and after 4 years in which Biden secured less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. Think of that, $1 trillion, substantially less than that. Just over 1 year ago, under the radical left Democrats, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, the United States economy is on pace to grow at double the rate that was projected by the IMF just last April. And with my growth and tariff policies.
Yeah, when he talks about people no longer receiving food stamps, just know that that's a rhetorical trick that Republicans love utilizing. They make it harder to access food stamps. They'll kick like hundreds of thousands of people off food stamps and they'll fucking celebrate it like they got, they got wealthier. That's not the case. Unironically, they got poorer, as a matter of fact, because now this social safety net that they were relying on to feed themselves and their children, they no longer have access to. And then they'll turn around and act as though this is a cause for celebration. It's not. Yeah, you didn't lift people off of food stamps. You threw them off. Exactly. We lifted more than 1.2 million Americans off food stamps in 1 year.
And this is all great news, and it's great for all nations. The USA is the economic engine on the planet. And when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down and you follow us up. And we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been. I never thought we could do it this quickly. My biggest surprise is I thought it would take more than a year, maybe like a year and 1 month. But it's happened very quickly. This afternoon, I want to discuss how we have achieved this economic miracle, how we intend to raise living standards for our citizens to levels never seen before, and perhaps how you too and the places where you come from can do much better by following what we're doing, because certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back.
Yeah, he goes into all of this like sloppulous bullshit, like, oh, Europe is not recognizable anymore because there's so many black and brown people in like European streets. Like, Europe was far better decades ago. And there is some truth to that. But the irony, of course, is that it's far worse now than it was maybe a couple decades ago due to austerity, due to becoming more and more Americanized. But of course, This is a conversation you can't have with neoliberals, especially that have dominated European politics for, since the 90s. Whether you are talking about conservative neoliberals and conservative parties, or even, the supposed left flank neoliberals that have also brought about the same level of crippling austerity measures to their own fucking countries, destroying the social safety nets and significantly reducing the quality of life in many of these European nation states. And that is the real issue here. It's not because there's more brown people. Nobody would give a fuck if there's more brown people or more black people in whichever European country that they're living in, if the public transit structure still existed in the same ways that it did. It's like fast, it's efficient, and you can get on a bus and that you can get to wherever you need to go at a reasonable rate for a reasonable price. You wouldn't worry about like what is changing actually. What is changing in my country if you could go to your doctor and get the same healthcare coverage that you got in the past, that your electricity bills were not sky high. Okay, if the cost of rent wasn't going up year over year and becoming unmanageable. So the exact same problems that exist in the United States of America exist in Europe as well. Europe made the refugees by fucking up their countries, forcing them to move. No, ironically enough, Europe played a secondary role in fucking up those countries, okay? If we're going to be real here, if you're talking about Muslim refugees, the reason why there are a lot of, Muslim refugees that came from Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, numerous other countries, is because of U.S. intervention in the region, which Europe played a role in as well. But Europe played a secondary role, a junior partner in the coalition. But of course, the global war on terror did not impact America in the same way that it did Europe, because America is far removed from the violence that it dishes out all around the globe. Oh, no, I'm talking about Africa too. Yeah, I mean, Europe plays a role in that as well, obviously, or historically has played a role in that. But I think most of the people that are mad, they dish out the white supremacist styles of racism towards everyone, like the previous colonial subjects as well. But what they're actually frustrated by is like the new wave of refugees and new wave of migrants that have come in, which have predominantly come in from the MENA region.
In 1 year, our agenda has produced a transformation like America has not seen in over 100 years. Instead of closing down energy plants, we're opening them up. Instead of building ineffective, money-losing windmills, we're taking them down and not approving any.
Yeah, so I've briefly touched on this before, but like the anti-climate change propaganda is actually anti-China propaganda. Many things that America does should be read in that same line of thought. Like, I know we're joking, we're saying Don Quixote, but like it's actually more nefarious than that. China obviously is the global manufacturing hub for many things, including batteries and renewable energy grid. The things that are necessary for renewable energies all around the world, from windmills to batteries to solar panels, all this stuff. And they're also on top of that, obviously manufacturing electric vehicles as well. And Howard Butlick basically said this openly yesterday, where it's like, why would we use Chinese style EVs? Like, you're so stupid. We're an oil nation. And yeah, Adam Tooze's face is pretty funny in reaction to this, by the way. Like the other panelist, when he's complaining about it, is hilarious, where once again, oil is a finite resource, okay? It's going to inevitably run out. And not only is it a finite resource, but it's also destroying the planet in the process of burning fossil fuels, right? And America, instead of using all of its brain power, all of its might, all of its money in the appropriate direction to create a more robust infrastructure for renewables, oh my God, did I F again? I'm going to lose my mind. Instead of America being an important player in the new frontier of energy, America's basically decided we can't do anything about it. China is dominating. China won. China is winning the next phase in energy. So we're just going to dial in, and we are going to be we're going to continue being the dominant force and the petrodollar dominant force in the old guard, in the old ways of in the old energy. All right, Donald Trump is live on CNBC.
about Greenland. So I was going to ask you, did you see any of your European cohorts nodding? But I guess I don't have to ask that now because of the news that it breaks very quickly. Can you go into what you just talked about with the NATO meeting?
Well, we have a concept of a deal. I think it's going to be a very good deal for the United States, also for them. And we're going to work together on something having to do with the Arctic as a whole, but also Greenland. And it has to do with the security, great security, strong security, and other things. We're talking, and it's the kind of a deal that I wanted to be able to make.
Where does Denmark, did they weigh in on what they want, what they would agree to?
Well, I assume they did because he very much represents, he's a strong leader. Mark, you know Mark, Rutte. And he, I assume he's been speaking to them. He's been speaking to all of them.
Are mineral rights involved? Is ownership involved? Did the Golden Dome sway people?
I don't want to say yet, but
the Golden Dome was very compelling today when you talked about that.
Yeah, the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in mineral rights, and so are we.
It's not specific enough to know at this point how long this lasts, whether it's
forever.
Forever.
It'll be forever.
For Greenland at this point.
Yeah. Forever.
That's staggering.
That's better than a 99-year.
This is what, 2 hours after.
It's better than the Obama deal with the famous Iran nuclear deal with a 9-year deal. No, this is forever. This is a long term.
I mentioned that you could have come over here and just talked about what you wanted to. Before you left, I think you wanted to talk about where the progress that you've made in terms domestically with the economy and everything else in the United States. And you didn't have to talk. I didn't think you had to talk about
I've decided we're lowering the sanctions on Iran in exchange for denuclearization, which is very different than what Obama did, because he was a black man and I am a white man doing the exact same deal. So it's very different. It's good when I do it. It's bad when he did it. He's Muslim.
Fair to say?
He's not even American, and he's a communist.
Fighting with Denmark,
NATO.
Fighting with,
you've done so much to try to strengthen NATO. I'm sure you don't want to see the dissolution of something you work.
I'm proud of NATO from the standpoint. Look, I brought them up from 2% to 5% of GDP. They're paying a lot of money. They pay us a lot of money because they buy missiles and they buy a lot of things.
As a real estate guy, some people say you always want lower rates, but Scott made the point that if you have productivity gains, whether it's from AI or whether it's from big, beautiful bill, whatever it is, that you need a Fed chairman that can't get too agitated about a hot GDP number. In other words, we might be at a point where we could run nominal GDP of 8% or, after inflation of 5.5%. But that doesn't mean that it's inflationary and that you need to raise rates. So have you considered someone that could be like a Greenspan in the 90s?
Well, that's what I want. I mean, right now, if you announce great numbers, the stock market goes down because they say, oh, they're going to raise the rate, they're going to kill it, which really stops you from having any great runs, and we want to have a great run. So we're going to be at 5.5 or something. They're predicting. I don't know. It's much higher than they thought. But let's say we're at 5.5. We could be at 10, or we could be at 12. We could be at 15. But immediately when they announce good numbers, now in the old days, you're too young.
Trump is also recognizing that it's fake, and he's basically just saying it's fake. Why don't you fake it in my direction? Why don't you fake it in a way that makes my buddies even more money? Just it's fake anyway.
Now the stock market crashes every time you have good numbers because they think everyone's going to raise rates.
Yeah.
Growth
Stop raising the rates. Lower them so that we can have 50% GDP growth.
So look, we've had tremendous growth, and we have almost no inflation.
Good. Meanwhile, regular people are starving. They can't afford a home. They can't even pay for rent.
Tremendous growth.
Do you, at this point, have plans for what you would do?
What you consider hyperinflation, I call more money, bigger money, bigger number. It's better.
And what if he decides to stay on the Fed? He doesn't need to leave.
Think about what it would do in terms of GDP growth if an avocado cost $54. You gotta buy the avocado. Someone's gonna buy it.
His life won't be very, very happy, I don't think, by doing it. I think he wants to get out. He has not done a good job. He's done a horrible job on buildings. You know, he took.
It's fine. You know how stupid my followers are. They don't even care. They can't purchase things. I tell them everything's going great. The market's doing fine. And they go, yes, Mr. President.
Almost $4 billion.
Yeah.
Average age of new hire 42. Average age of new homeowner 59. This is a good economy. Also, the largest part of the workforce now is just Zoomers and millennials, and none of them can get a job. I saw a tweet the other day that was like, I don't know how difficult it is to explain this to someone over the age of 40, but looking for jobs, like putting your resume out there to get a new job, is just the most worthless endeavor that you can engage in. And I think people don't understand it. Like, it's just over. Like the old school ways, the old school method, what millennials used to yell at boomers on, you know, a stern handshake and making eye contact was enough for you to get a fucking job where you would make the current equivalent of $300,000 a year and have a single income family. It's gone, right? And now for the Zoomers and the millennials, it's gotten even worse than that, where the whole like just go and apply to 1 million jobs, dumbass method does not work at all. You are not going to find a job. It's fucking impossible.
Could prevent someone from being voted on.
But because the people that are running the economy and the people that are running the country are they're 858 years old, they will never understand this. The reality that they grew up in does not exist anymore. And it has only gotten worse. They're so fucking old that they're like, I don't understand. Oh, you must be a fucking loser if you can't find a job. Like, what do you mean? Back in my day, you would do a stern handshake and stare them right in the eyes and you'd get a job and you could own a home. Stop paying for avocado toast and you'll be able to own a home.
So you think that young people have now got the prospect of never owning a home?
Absolutely, when you're spending $40 a day on smashed avocado and coffees and not working. Of course.
A meeting of the minds. That's something that wasn't on my my plate.
Yeah, she was very happy with this phone call. I'll tell you. Now look,
you won't be having a lot of policy discussions with her, other than.
But credit card companies are getting 28%, 30%. These people don't know they're paying that.
Right. Is it a 1 year?
1 year cap of 10%, and I love it. I know it's sort of like, it sounds like the mayor of New York maybe came up with that, but people are paying, they can't make it. They can't pay 28. You know, whatever happened to usury, they can't pay 28%. And so I said 1 year, I'd like to see a 1 year cap of 10% with the credit card companies, and they'd understand that. I've had calls from credit card companies, people that are friends of mine, actually, and I treat them good. I respect them greatly, but they make a lot of money. They got to give people a break. 28% interest. You know, people go out and they buy something, and if they're a little bit late, they're paying 28%. They end up filing for bankruptcy. So I would like to see that happen, yeah.
So there's, I guess, we're getting toward the end, but there's classic conservatism, there's populism, and I guess there's common sense. Is that how you would describe some of the steps that you make? I mean, there's people that call it statism, or that we're getting too involved with managing the private sector.
I'm conservative, but I think I'm common sense. You know, it's like people say, "Are you a conservative?" I say, "Yeah, but I'm a common sense person. I mean, I do things that aren't necessarily that conservative sometimes."
Yeah.
And
yeah, like when you want to invade Greenland, it's a real common sense position when 80% of the country says don't do that.
Thing. Open borders for everyone so that everybody's prisoners can pour in, where they come in from the Congo, where they come in from all over the world, from Venezuela. And by the way, we picked up 50 million barrels of oil the other day from Venezuela. We're going to sell it at the market price. We're going to give some to Venezuela. We're going to keep some.
They already have, by the way. The Venezuelan leadership under Delcy Rodriguez said that they received their first $300 million dollar check from the American oil sales. They do not know where it's $500 million worth of oil. America took it, they seized it, and they're, I guess, quote unquote, selling it. I don't know where. And they only gave Venezuela $300 million of the $500 million that they stole. And nobody knows where the remaining $200 million is, by the way. That's the way that we're operating now. It's pure piracy.
It's also aimed at common sense again. But
it's pure piracy. We just stole that oil.
You have these big companies, these big corporations buying up thousands of homes and renting them or doing whatever they do with them. Some of them are flipping them for a big profit.
I'm gonna go pick up
But
some
it got
money
to
from
be
the
too
bank.
much, too many.
Yeah, go buy some gold
it's good
then with that
investment.
money, because
And we're not
that
saying
paper
take
might be
them
worthless.
away, but we're saying that we don't want that. We want people to be able to buy a home.
Been a long day for you, I know, and energetic, more energetic than I am right now. Thank you for
You're
the
doing
time.
just fine.
Thank you for the time, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, that the President of the United States, of course, and our very own Joe Kernan.
Wow, what a productive conversation. Trump just lied about everything once again. And there was very little pushback on this, down to like when he says the economy is doing so well. But of course, it's fucking CNBC, so he's speaking to the right audience when he says, well, the markets are hot. The markets are hot. Look at that. We course corrected in the markets, believe it. Okay, I said I was going to dominate Greenland. I said I was going to take over Greenland with the military. Then I said I'm not going to do that no more. And then the markets are hot, hot, hot. Is it lying if you don't know the truth? No, CNBC knows the fucking truth. What do you mean? Everybody knows the truth. When Donald Trump says we're getting $15 gorillion in foreign investment coming into the country, and they're opening up factories, you can look around and recognize that that is not happening. But none of it matters, because the entire stock market, which is the only thing that these animals care about on CNBC, it revolves around pure speculation and confidence that Donald Trump won't actually use the nuclear option and destroy global trade in its entirety, as he has threatened to do so over and over again, multiple times a year in the last year of his second term. So he just keeps going, I'm going to break it. I'm going to molest the money. I'm going to molest the money. And then everybody goes, no, sir, please don't molest the money. Then he turns around and says, I'm not molesting the money as much as I was going to. Isn't that wonderful? And the market goes, oh, thank God. Thank God he's not molesting the money as hard. Yeah, oh my God. It's a bull market, baby. Let's go. Perma growth. None of it is anchored around like actual fundamentals. It's all speculative. It's all bullshit. It's all nonsensical. It's all Tesla stock. The stock market is all Tesla stock, okay? Money is faker than it has ever been before. Obviously, it's been fake for quite a while, but goddamn, finance capital is so fake, dude. It is just nothing. It's unicorns and fairy dust. Everything is Tesla. When Donald Trump said it's all computer, everything is Tesla, everybody transgender, he was right. It's not in the way that he was using it. I mean, look at Nvidia. Look at OpenAI. Look at the major reasons as to why the stock market is up. The GDP is growing. Why is it growing? Because they're exchanging the same like $100 billion over and over again. It's just exchanging hands. Everything Nvidia.
You talked about being concerned, Mr. President, about Russia trying to come and take over Greenland. If you're worried that Putin would do something like that, why invite him to join your board of peace?
Because we want everybody. We want all nations. We want all nations where people have control, people have power. That way we're never going to have a problem. This is the greatest board ever assembled. And everybody wants to be on it. But, yeah, I have some controversial people on it, but these are people that get the job done. These are people that have tremendous influence. And if I put all babies on the board, there wouldn't be very much. So he was invited. He's accepted. Many people have accepted. I don't know of anybody that hasn't accepted. But it's going to be great. I think the Board of Peace will be the most prestigious board ever, and it's going to get a lot of work done that the United Nations should have done. And we'll work with the United Nations, but the Board of Peace is going to be special. We're going to have peace. It started off with Gaza, the Middle East. We've got peace in the Middle East, tremendous peace in the Middle East. Nobody thought that was possible. And that happened by taking out the Iran nuclear threat. Without that, it could have never happened. But the board is going to be, I think, really fantastic. And I think it'll be the most prestigious board of any board ever in world history. Thank you very much.
Tremendous. The slave prime minister of Pakistan also joined the piss of board. Yeah, and so did Benjamin Netanyahu. If you want to understand how stupid this like board of peace is, he's just basically re-engineering the United Nations, but this time with even more control, I guess. And you can buy into it. And it's a crock of bullshit. It is totally nonsensical. It is totally ridiculous. The UN already doesn't have any fucking power. And I guess even like Donald Trump wants to build another version of that. That's even I guess another version of that is even more captive to American interests. It's awesome.
Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse which befell every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam, perhaps the greatest hoax in history. The Green New Scam, windmills all over the place.
The reason why he just keeps hitting the renewable energy thing is because China is dominating the rare earth mineral procurement extraction. They have a monopoly on it. Okay, they have a monopoly on the production of rare earth minerals, which are necessary materials for all matter of technology, but certainly on renewable energy, on the renewable energy battery technology. China is obviously dominating on the R&D side. China is dominating on the manufacturing side. It's not just like wind turbines. It's not necessarily just wind turbines that he's like fucking complaining about. It's everything, right? Wind turbines, batteries, solar panels, virtually, hey, what's going on, man? Virtually every single thing. Virtually every single thing that is a necessity, China dominates on. And that's precisely the reason why America's decided no more of this like woke and gay green shit. We're just going full tilt back into, we're redoubling our efforts in on the side of the fossil fuel industry, even though it's destroying the planet. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if we just melt the table. It doesn't matter if we destroy the table. If we're losing the board game, we might as well kill everybody in the process rather than look forward, rather than try to improve mankind, rather than try to improve our carbon footprint, rather than try to focus on the new method of energy, even though we have all of the power. Kaya, get back over there. Instead of trying to focus on competing with China and trying to build a robust manufacturing base or even cooperating with China, we are deciding to fight back by focusing entirely on oil and gas. Okay, that's it.
It's destroy your land. Destroy your land. Every time that goes around, you lose $1,000. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. Here in Europe, we've seen the fate that the radical left tried to impose on America. They tried very hard. Germany now generates 22% less electricity than it did in 2017. And it's not the current chancellor's fault. He's solving the problem. He's going to do a great job. But what they did before he got there, I guess that's why he got there. And electricity prices are 64% higher. The United Kingdom produces just 1/3 of the total energy from all sources that it did in 1999. Think of that, 1/3. And they're sitting on top of the North Sea, one of the greatest reserves anywhere in the world, but they don't use it. And that's one reason why their energy has reached catastrophically low levels with equally high prices. High prices, very low levels. Think of that, 1/3. And you're sitting on top of the North Sea. And they like to say, well, you know, that's depleted. It's not depleted. It's got 500 years. They haven't even found the oil. The North Sea is incredible. They don't let anybody drill. Environmentally, they don't let them drill. They make it impossible for the oil companies to go. They take 92% of the revenues. So the oil companies say, we can't do it. They came to see me. Is there anything you can do? I want Europe to do great. I want UK to do great. They're sitting on one of the greatest energy sources in the world, and they don't use it. In fact, their electricity prices have soared 139%. There are windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers. One thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that?
So this is obviously completely incorrect. This might come as a surprise to chatters, but he's once again talking out of his ass. Not only is China the leader in manufacturing renewable energy products, but it's also the leader around the globe in renewable energy infrastructure inside of China. Not only do they have a ton of wind turbines, not windmills, right? But they're also experimenting with new ways of developing wind turbines, like this new Zeppelin thing. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's completely ridiculous. Photos capture the breathtaking scale of China's wind and solar build out. This is a major wind farm, but it's not just windmills either. It's not just wind turbines either. They're also experimenting with new technology. Here's another article. There it is. China's building 2/3 of the world's wind and solar projects. Country on track to reach 1,200 gigawatts of installed wind and solar capacity by end of 2024, 6 years ahead of Beijing's target. Almost 2/3 of global wind and solar projects under construction are in China. Solar and wind power projects under construction by gigawatts. So yeah, they are massively ahead. And not only that, but they're now doing this insane thing that I saw that's like, that literally feels like it just feels like something out of Cyberpunk. World's most powerful flying wind turbine launched in Western China. This is a gigantic gliding power bank that could help communities cut off from the grid during blackouts and cement China's leading role in green energy. I don't know how safe this is. When I see Zeppelins, I get fearful, but that is what they are doing. The world's first megawatt class high altitude wind power system for urban use, the S2000 SAWES, has successfully completed a test flight in Yibin, southwest China's Sichuan province on January 5th. After a 30-minute ascent to 2,000 meters, it generated 385 kilowatt hours of electricity and completed grid-connected power generation. 1 hour of operation can generate enough electricity to fully... What are you doing? What's happening over there? You want to go outside? Hold on. You don't mind dogs, right? He's very friendly. Hey, sit. Okay. Oh, damn, she's not even going to you. I don't know where she's going. Okay. Anyway, here it is. This is what it looks like. It's fucking insane, okay? 1 hour operation can generate enough electricity to fully charge approximately 30 top-spec electric vehicles from zero. It's meant to be rapidly deployed to natural disasters to restore areas' basic power. Yeah. When I look at this stuff, I understand how people must have felt when, you know, I understand how the horse buggy and carriage industry must have felt when like cars were being mass produced, right? The assembly line kicks in, there's cars, it's becoming increasingly cheaper or more affordable to own a car. And while that is happening, this new frontier is unfolding in front of your eyes. You're still maintaining the old guard where you're like, no, you don't understand. This is a profitable industry. Horses are much better. Horses are much better than cars, dude. You're so dumb. Don't move into the car stuff. What do you mean an automobile? It's a dangerous thing. It's scary. It's weird. Horses are much less likely to trample you to death. It's just a fad. It'll go away. Let's just focus on horses.